Mathematics of reproduction. How many people do you need to repopulate a planet after a global catastrophe? Well, what happened was with the last super volcanic eruption that we had of the North Island of Taupo in New Zealand, anthropologists calculated that about 2,000 people, that is 1,000 couples, remained after that almost extinction level event about 27,500 years ago. So what about this? How many people would we need to repopulate a planet? Life after the apocalypse is perhaps one of the most popular genre of fiction in cinema, and according to the Abrahamic religions, in order to revive humanity in such cases, only two people are enough for nature, a man and a woman. But is that really so? How many people do you need to guarantee the population of the entire planet? Apocalyptic arithmetic. According to the experience of livestock breeders, in order for a population to survive and reproduce successfully, it must contain at least 50 healthy and mature individuals based on 25 females and 25 males. This condition also applies to humans. The main problems of such a small group of founders, quote unquote, will be the degeneration of the genes and inbreeding, of course. The point is that 50 individuals cannot carry the entire genetic diversity of mankind. Part of the signs, for example, blood type, skin color, certain physical and mental abilities, will be lost. In addition, in such populations, the likelihood of inbreeding depression is high. This is the result of closely related marriages, not necessarily in the first generations. In a group with the same alleles of genes, offspring can inherit recessive traits. Under normal circumstances, the mother and father give the children two sets of identical genes. If one of them is damaged, then the embryo successfully replaces it with a second. However, if the defective set of both parents is identical, then the child will have a spoiled hereditary factor. At best, this will weaken its immunity and biological adaptation. At worst, it will reduce reproductive abilities or even lead to death. To prevent this from happening, the optimal number of individuals in a group should not be less than 500. In science, this is called the effective population size. Its range is in some 50 to 500 individuals. Here, 50 individuals is the minimum threshold, and 500 is the preferred threshold. Planet colonization and modern technologies. U.S. anthropologist John Moore calculated the number of people needed to colonize a new planet. The scientist suggests that if technology will allow us to move to a new planet, for example to Proxima b, then the crew of the spacecraft should be 180 people, carefully selected for genetic characteristics. These are young, healthy people who will be forced to track marriages among themselves. Anthropologist Cameron Smith disagrees. John Moore does not take into account accidents and psychological factors, which if one of the crew dies. What if one of the crew dies, for example? But what if such a factor as love intervenes in the selection? Then the whole mission will be in jeopardy. It's best to send not 180 but 14,000 young people, and this colony, given the resources, will survive anyway. The problem seems completely insignificant if the crew does not reproduce naturally, but with the help of genetic engineering and an artificial womb. Then the crew can safely be the aforementioned 50 people. And this is from Solask. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.